What's up, everybody? BallietBran. Today we've got a wonderful stream and interview slash conversation with another Hexakin, Hex Luthor. I see Joker. He's in the chat here. He says, "I have arrived." We got a Crypto Gains Club. We will do the intro and then we'll bring on Hex Luthor in just a minute. Let me share the screen for everyone just so you can see, the YouTube channel that he pretty much presents on almost daily, and also the Twitter, so you guys can follow him. And if I didn't already, I will be putting that in the description later, if that's not already in the description, for where his links are. So once again, you can go to at Luthor_Hex. And so you've got, his Twitter channel right here. And then let me paste the actual YouTube channel as well. Okay, 1 second here. Okay, cool. So, and this is pretty much the YouTube channel that him and Jim Rat, and I've seen Joker as well, present on, almost daily, it seems. I think that they had a video that was premiering as well earlier as well. So definitely, guys, go check that out. And then without further ado, let me do the intro. We'll bring on Hex Luthor and we'll have a good conversation.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to comment. Say heck. Heck yeah. Say heck, heck. Heck yeah. Say heck. Say heck yeah. Say heck. Motherfucking jackpot. We still jackpot, bitch!
Thank you, Richard, for creating and founding the most amazing and disruptive financial technology cryptocurrency ever. Thank you, sir. And nice streams, Mr. BallietBran.
All right, so what's up, everyone? Once again, let me just say hi to the chat real quick, and then we'll bring on Hex Luthor. If you guys have any questions for him or myself, please put them in the chat, and we'll try to get to them. Can't guarantee we'll get to all of them, but definitely some of them. Mrs. Hexquisite, thank you, Richard Hart. Good morning from Japan. I love that. We got Magnus. We got Completion Fails, Polster Bader, BallietBran, the #1 Hex YouTuber, woohoo. Red Squirrel, Hex and Chill Girl. I like it. Very cool. Hex Luthor, nice. Need to make you a mod. Hex Element, what's up, bro? Looking forward to hanging out with you in Vegas. Konichiwa. Hex 52 says, let me scroll over here. 70-year-old Hex Hodler, appreciate your work. Thanks, Bran. Awesome. Well, cheers to you as well. And then let's just see if anyone else. We got Mrs. Susie Q. I always love BallietBran stream. Very excited to be here. XOXO. Nice to see you as well. Brazology, what's up, Bran? I promise we're almost done here. Let's see. Jorge Ramirez says hello from Miami, Florida. Nice to see you, Jorge. ¿Cómo estás? Jeremy Rush, and then 369. I like it. All right, cool. I guess Luthor, if you want to give me a little thumbs up, we'll in the background whenever you're good. Okay, cool, awesome. All right, well, cool, guys. Yeah, without further ado, let's bring on Hex Luthor and let's hear a little bit more.
Hey,
how's it going, man?
up, guys? Hey, how you doing, Bran?
Doing good. Thanks for coming on today. I think it was Gerardo and someone else the other day that they were saying, like, sometimes the hardest thing that can be done when you're doing streams is even just coordinating them. So I'm happy that we were able to
yeah, we got to see that live yesterday.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good old dude, the time zones, man, they can, since we have Hexicans all over the world, I mean, Mrs. Hexquisite in Japan and some of these other people, yeah, it can be, I've definitely done that a time or two with the time zones.
Yep. What's up, Completion? Good to see you here. Hex Joker, good to see you, man. Hex Luthor, he can fight Superman. Yes, yes. But
We
no,
gotta.
that's a real problem. The time zones are a real problem because going back and forth, even trying to schedule this with you, I had a moment of confusion.
Yeah.
And then I
It's
actually
true,
looked
dude.
at when you set the time for the stream and I was like, oh, thank you. I'm glad you scheduled that because
Yeah.
it let me verify the time.
Dude, it's so true. Yeah, no, it makes it much easier just because yeah, you can never be too sure, especially when it's, different time zones and stuff. So let's see. Let me just say hi to Gold Key. Let's see what's up. And hey, cool. Yeah, we got a lot of people in the chat, man. A lot of people are excited to kind of, hear more and, watch us stream, which is pretty cool. I know. Can you maybe tell us I mean, yeah, kind of a little bit about yourself, like maybe, when you got into crypto. I know obviously I was on your guys' stream the other day with you and Jim Rat, but maybe a little bit of backstory on maybe when you got into crypto in the first place, or when you found Hex. I saw you with like a fresh and fit shirt on the other day, which is kind of cool because I know some of the other guys are in that community, which I followed a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. Crypto wise, I remember hearing about Bitcoin when it was at $50. I was actually in a paid trading group, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy running that group was buying Bitcoin live in front of me at $50, telling everyone else to buy it. I didn't listen and I didn't buy it. And I remember him specifically saying that would have been a long-term hold anyway, and it wasn't for trading. So I was thinking, oh, at $50, well, I already paid for this trading group, and I'm learning how to trade from him at the time, which was stock options. So I didn't even jump in on it. I just let it ride. And then months later, I was still in that group, and I watched him. It ran up to maybe $300 or something. He made a fat little bag off of it, and I kind of just forgot about it because I blew up my own trading account within that time and got wrecked and stopped following him. And then in 2015, it was like a couple of years later, 2015, we had that, I think 11,000 top or something like that, 13,000 top on Bitcoin. Everyone was getting excited about it. It was in the news everywhere. That's when I decided to mine it. So I got into Bitcoin mining in 2015, end of 2015, early 2016. And from there, I mined it for a few years. But with the mining comes the electricity fees, right?
Yep.
So we were paying the Bitcoin profits. We were just selling them right back, just as Richard Hart states. I mean, it was true for me in my experience. We had to sell our mining yield for the electricity bill. So every month I would just be dumping that right back into my bank account and paying the electricity bill. Ended up keeping a little bit, but still hadn't learned that lesson of the long-term view and delayed gratification. So that little bit I even sold, I think, again when it hit the 13K again, not too long ago, a couple of years ago, right? Maybe a year and a half ago. I don't remember, but I ended up selling it, not for about where I started.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, it's all such an experience and quite a journey. I mean, yeah, you mentioned doing some of the mining, which is, by no means is that a easy thing to do per se. I mean, I forget someone else that said that they kind of taught themselves how to do it, but yeah, not only that you mentioned the electricity bill, but then also the coins themselves, right? Are you getting it, and is the price going down, or vice versa? So that's cool, man. Sometimes it takes, like you mentioned, kind of getting wrecked or blowing up an account and things like that. I know a lot of us that are here that have kind of like stayed here consistently usually have kind of had some of those experiences. Because for me, that I've experienced, whether it's crypto or any other like industry, it seems that you kind of have to learn through like one of those market cycles once, and then you realize, okay, like you said, kind of what to do differently next time.
Yep. And I wish I had actually delved into kind of the game theory of cryptocurrency and what it was all about. I was just searching for the profits at that time. I was after the money, I was after the gains, and I didn't really care to learn as deeply as I should have then, because let's be honest, I'm going to be honest, I didn't even read the white paper back then. The Bitcoin white paper, didn't read it. So
I know what you mean,
I didn't
dude.
know the mission or the value statement of it even at that time. So to me, it was just kind of a, try to see if it works as a short-term kind of trade thing. And
Totally.
all of that played against me. But about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago now at this point, like you said, you saw me with the Fresh and Fit t-shirt. I started watching them.
Yep.
I don't know how I came across them. I think it showed up in my YouTube recommended at one point. And I just started watching them. And I was actually watching them with my wife. We both got into it and loved it because the message they were telling us and the message that I was receiving, even though they may not appeal to a lot of people, they're a little rough around the edges, and just the way they put things isn't quite as clean and nice as some people want to hear it. But they were telling me the truth, and I could hear the truth within it. As soon as I started to kind of wake up to the red pill on that side of things with relationships, all of that, my life immediately started to change. Immediately. There was no, I'm going to have to wait 6 months to see, my fat loss journey take place.
Yeah.
But it was immediate changes within the reactions and relationship with my wife. And so I knew there was value there. So I kept watching them. And they had a show on with dollar cost crypto, where they recommended HEX to look into. And I was at that point in my life where I had some savings saved up. My finances were in order. Everything was looking good. And I wanted to prepare and invest for the future. So I just looked into HEX, and here I am today.
That's so cool, dude. What a badass story, man. I mean, I know you mentioned with like the Fresh and Fit, and cause yeah, I've even before hearing about them, I kind of heard a lot of the similar stuff and followed similar communities. And anyways, it kind of reminds me of, say, like Richard, where like, sometimes like you mentioned, whether it's the information or the persona and whatnot can be so like kind of in your face and just so raw that you're right. Some people they don't like that, or they might get a lot of hate, things like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, the truth is the truth, so I love people that speak the truth to power. And when you mention that was kind of how you found out about HEX, which is cool. I didn't know about that. I always love to hear that. Was it the one, because I've seen dollar cost and it was Charlie, right? With Cultivate.
Yeah, Charlie was on it too.
Okay, both of them. Okay, cool.
I kind of discount him now that I've learned a few things, but
no, I understand. Yeah, I just wanted to verify if it was that same one, because it's just cool, like how much people are bringing other people into crypto and onboarding. I mean, that's definitely one of the hardest things that you can do, in my opinion. Is obviously it's the most important, but it takes, I mean, as it takes a handful of steps to get, say, from like fiat to crypto and knowledge and stuff like that. So
yep. And I was ready. I was there. I was primed for that moment. So I'm grateful to that episode specifically, and both to Charlie. Yeah, I give him credit for that because he was there, but dollar cost crypto as well, because he was the one actually saying, hey, these are the 3 coins you need to look into: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and HEX. And I had already had previous experiences with Bitcoin and didn't want anything to do with it. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to buy some Ethereum. And then as soon as I bought Ethereum, I went to the hex.com website and I read the whole thing. And after I read the whole thing, I wished I didn't stake some of that Ethereum.
I know what you mean, man.
Yep. So I'm stuck with a 6-year wait maybe on some of that ETH.
Yep. Well, you're right, man. Sometimes you just don't know until you find out, like whether it's through someone else, or maybe because, I mean, I know HEX does have so much gatekeeping, and a lot of people don't prefer to mention it, at least the ones that kind of had a certain like YouTube model or certain, I guess, monetization model. But anyways, no, it's cool to have you and see, because with a lot of times I see people's like Twitter handles or their photos, and then when I had seen that you had started streaming, how long ago was that? Because you and Crypto Gym Rat in general are, kicking ass. How long ago was that?
Well, thank you. We started streaming, I think early January was my first stream, maybe mid-January. I had planned to stream with just talking to Joker, because I took Joker's call to action, I think either in November, end of November, or early December, where he said, hey, hit me up if you guys want to help push the onboarding efforts. And there was a video on Twitter that he just posted. I slept on it for a few days, and I just DM'd him after a couple of days, and I said, hey, I've got some skills that I don't know if they could help, but I'm willing to help. And then we got on a call. He mentioned streaming at that time, and I said, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, nice.
And then Christmas came around, family vacations, all that stuff. So I think it was maybe mid-January we started on this journey. And then I saw the value in Crypto Gym Rat just through his post, because I had been following him. I don't know how long I had been following him for, because as a Hexican, you're just following every Hexican.
Yeah, I know, it's true. Yeah,
but somehow his posts would always come up into my Twitter feed. And I think one day I just reached out to him. I said, let's get him on. And then I talked to Joker. I was like, hey, I think he's a good fit for us, our team, and the show. So let's go with that. And, here we are. It happened. It's working. We're having a lot of fun. And I think we're doing a pretty decent job on getting the message out there. It's also opening up doors outside of just the YouTube space and Twitter space that I could not have imagined possible.
That's so cool, man. It's that's awesome. I mean, and that's commendable. I think it's brave, like you mentioned, for Joker to say, like, hey, however many of you guys and gals want to help, message me, and then kind of all collaboratively and collectively kind of work on something together that, maybe, because I know we were talking before that it's not like you had like intentions of streaming per se, and it kind of just worked out to be what it is right now. But it's cool to see where people kind of, take some of the initiative and take some of the stuff into their own matter in their own hands. Because when I look at someone like yourself and Crypto Gym Rat, like I had seen them like onboarding, I think her name was like Penelope, and I think you and him did kind of like a double stream type of deal with your ladies and stuff. And anyways, it's just cool. Like the more the merrier, and especially just onboarding people into it. I think that's kind of the most important part, once again, because the people that are already into it, as Richard says, they're cool. We love them and stuff, but it's really, getting that message outbound and into more people's hands.
Yeah, and that's what we are. We are a consensus network. We all agree within this network that Hex is the shit. Do we not?
I agree, man.
It's the next world currency. That's how I see it. I see it as the saving grace for not only money and finance, but for a lot of the world's problems. If we can fix that, we can help start healing the world in other areas. So to me, I was on board with that mission the day I went all in on Hex, which is the day I researched it, because somebody else told me to look at it. I want to pay that favor back, and I want to pay it back in as much kind of efficient magnitude that I can. And this is the only way that I know that I can. So teaching people, not only like our current network, our current viewers, our current tribe, how to onboard people and how to talk to people and how to answer their questions. I think it's great that we are doing that in front of the camera. It's difficult to get some people onto the camera.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge we're facing right now. Is there's a lot of people that want to talk about it, but they don't want to come on camera with us.
Yep.
But
I know what you mean.
I think it's beneficial for anybody to watch an onboard take place in person live, because you're going to see questions that arise that aren't always the same questions that you've seen Richard Hart face. They're not always the same objections. And we want to be able to capture those for everybody and display the answers that we give, and also have support from the chat, because that helps a ton to get people onboarded. So our mission is onboarding the world. That's what we want to do. We want to get the females in, yes, and we will get more and more of them as we get more clout. That's kind of how it works.
Yep. Hell yeah, dude. It's true, man. No, that's awesome. Shout out to you guys. And yeah, once again, I appreciate you doing that, because like you mentioned, when you're onboarding people, usually that is something that people try to do like in the analog world or like on the phone or like a one-on-one type of deal, which just really doesn't scale. And like you mentioned, how can you and how can people that want to help, how can you if you're going to dedicate some of your time, yeah, how can you either record that or save that for later that you can just send it to a whole bunch of people, or a whole bunch of people can watch it later and they can onboard themselves if they didn't have time for the live stream. I mean, that's the cool thing about these videos is that there's just never ending amount of content and information for people that kind of know where to go and are actually interested in learning more.
Yep. Especially like once you're in the algorithm, once you're in that YouTube search engine, all it takes is for somebody else to hear about Hex Now Later and to just type in Hex, and that one of our streams is going to pop up. One of our streams will connect with them. One of our streams will vibe with them, and hopefully get the message across, get the information they need to actually click the button, go to hex.com, and set up their journey for their delayed gratification magic carpet ride.
No, it's so true, man. Let me just say what's up to the chat real quick, just because I know that there's a lot of people in here that were interested in this interview. So we got slash conversation. So Jim Rat Crypto, he says, hope all the Hexicans are doing great. I love these two men, heavy hitters, honest about what they think. So fucking pumped for the future with you two. Hell yeah,
That's my
man.
boy. That's my boy.
No, dude,
He's a good
awesome.
guy.
It's a very bright future, man. Like, I look at and I'm pretty sure that you probably have noticed this in the other communities too, but you look at kind of like the people that it brings together, and it's like, dude, we got like Jim Rat said, heavy hitters. And so we've got people like Richard and others that are just speaking truth to power. And the cool thing is that from what I've experienced, Richard has kind of just like led by example, and then so many other people have had similar opinions and thoughts, or could use the same logic that he derived to kind of come up with their own conclusion. And then now you've got a whole bunch of these people that are once again trying to do better and trying to help other people, and kind of that signal through the noise, dude. Because if you look at, like you mentioned, if you look at most crypto and you just type in, say, like crypto on YouTube, I guarantee you're not going to find something that's like Hex or Pulse related. It's going to be like the top 5 cryptos or top 10.
Oh yeah, it's going to be the BitBoy channels and all the other influencers that are kind of leading that space there with their promise coins and advertisement coins. And maybe you've experienced this already too. I don't know if you've got an email, a contact email in your YouTube channel, but we do. We put the support at pulsification.com email in there, and we are already getting offers from, I don't know who, but it seems like people in Asia asking if they can sponsor a video or a show for us to promote their coin.
Yeah,
those get the immediate delete, but it's already happening to us, so I'm sure like you may get them too.
No, it's actually and it's part of the reason why it's so hard. Like, I'd be curious to see what Richard does to kind of filter, because I know he's got like filtering software that can kind of filter like spam versus what are legit messages and stuff. But as far as Telegram goes, like, yeah, I've got honestly, like, it gets to the point where it's so overloaded with some of the spam that like just so many people kind of fall through the weeds, because it just takes so much time to go through each one and then delete it or block them. But yeah, dude, you see that all the time. And yeah, I see it in my Telegram DMs where people, they're trying to do the meat grinder thing, the thing that worked in 2017 or years past. But I think people are slowly starting to realize that, that there's not only like ethical issues with that kind of stuff, but also like legal issues too. Like, if you look at kind of even some of the Safe Moon stuff or some of these other things, I know that there was kind of like some litigation against maybe at least people kind of promoting it, and some of these other things that were more of like an endorsement without like actually saying it. Did you hear about that?
Oh yeah, that's been going on quite a bit, even more and more lately, because people are getting caught up in this, and that could be one of the reasons why I think maybe BitBoy has decided to stop advertising, right? Probably not just the ethical reasons, but there's a lot of legal reasons cropping up, and people are starting to get the hammer for that, right? But I was going to say on that front, though, we have the advantage being in Hex as streamers, because we don't have to rely on these men or these advertising companies or these cryptocurrency founders to even be tempted by their offers of sponsorship.
Yep.
I have no worries about getting sponsored because I don't care about getting sponsored. I don't need it. I don't want it. I have a message to share, and that's the message I'm going to stick with because that's the one that I am on board with and the vision that I can see benefiting the future. So I have there's no worries to try to go get advertisers. But when somebody starts their YouTube journey, when they're first starting out, getting paid for them is a huge deal. And they kind of need that so they can replace their job. We have the advantage because we don't need that. As Hexicans, we don't need that. We've got Hex.
Well, it's so true, and I know, yeah, Richard kind of led by example with that. Obviously, even before Hex, he didn't have the monetization turned on and stuff like that. I think he did have, what was it, BitMEX links back in the day, but that was way before he stopped recommending trading and that, so many people were just getting fed to the meat grinder. But it's so true that you mentioned when you have someone that can't be corrupted and can't be like bought off like that, then and the people can kind of see it, right? They can see a distinct difference between, like you mentioned, there's a reason why, BitBoy probably stopped and stuff, but you can just see kind of like the, someone being genuine, whether it's, like I said, the streams that we do, or it's those top 10 altcoin ones. There's just a night and day difference of, when I first found Richard, I was like, oh dude, this is the money maker. This is the guy that I stumbled on and, is leading me the right way versus the other people I was following, which just weren't.
Yep. And then honestly, like with the like the ads turned on. So there is an algorithmic benefit to turning those ads on. Even though you may not want or care about the money, if you want to get pushed in the algorithm, you got to turn those ads on.
Yeah.
They will.
I've actually experienced that too.
Yep. They will prioritize your videos if you've got monetization turned on.
No, it's true. I learned about the same thing because I experimented. Yeah. Like when it was available, like, oh, turn it on, turn it off. And then, yeah, just do the ones that are like skippable or the ones that kind of just pop up and down. So it's not obviously super annoying because same thing. It's just trying to get that message in front of the other people. I know when Richard had his channel that was like just shut down, and it happened to be that same day that a whole bunch of other people had gotten hacked and all that stuff. So it just happened to be that he was one of the people as well. But he had mentioned for the longest time that, you have to go where the people are. It's just like with the onboarding, like you have to
dance.
Exactly.
Yep. You got to dance with them a little bit and then learn how to take the lead. And that's just all it is. I don't know. It's a give and take kind of thing with especially YouTube on this media platform where we don't control that platform. And it's not necessarily 100% free, right? You do have to play by the rules to some degree.
That's true. No, and I know you mentioned the Fresh and Fit the first time you had heard it. I had also heard, because I don't watch all of their stuff, I've just seen a little bit of it, but I had seen another video that was clearly separate from the one with Miguel in there. That was like some lady saying like, hey, if you're gonna buy any crypto, here's the one that you buy, and it was Hex. And so just kind of a reminder back to that, since you kind of share that common interest too, it's just cool that other people, once again, they're getting the word out there, they're spreading the message, and yeah, onboarding more women, people of all kinds is what we need.
Yeah. Did you know that was Orbit's on board?
Oh, really?
I
didn't.
The girl that shouted,
really?
Yeah, Hex out on Fresh and Fit. That was Abit's onboard from Crypto Sparbuck.
Dude, that's cool. Yeah. Speaking of those guys, I think they're ending their tour. I think when Vegas comes up, I think like the day before Vegas or something like that. I know that they were ending it soon if they haven't already, or at least we're coming back to Vegas. But dude, talk about onboarding and outbound messaging and kind of taking things into their own hands. Those guys are really doing, good work and have really kind of impressed me with, what this community is capable of, what we can all kind of, do when people put some of their minds together.
Yeah, that's definitely what anybody needs to be doing. Like if you're questioning what you think you could do to help, just start helping where your strengths lie, where your skills are. if you think you need help from other people, reach out to the community, because that's what we're all about. There's no company doing the advertising and marketing and onboarding for us. We are that network. We are that community. And what they've done, they took it upon themselves, just like you said. They went out, and I don't know if you ever went to one of their workshops, but I went to the one in Miami.
Yeah.
And I was actually surprised that there weren't as many hexagons as I expected there to be at the workshop. There were more non-hexagon people there to learn about hex than there were hexagons. And it kind of shocked me. I was like, oh, I wanted to meet hexagons.
I know what you mean, dude. I know what you mean. No, yeah, I had gone to the one in Seattle, and one of the guys was actually in here, which is in DC's community, and I think the Fresh and Fit community too. But Jerry Oaksmith, him, myself, and yeah, right here, there it is. Hex is the shit. But him, myself, and another couple hexagons in my area. After the Seattle meetup, I was like, oh. Didn't realize there was all these hexagons, whether I knew them or not, whether they were new or not, in my area. And so that was kind of a cool opportunity for me to, exchange phone numbers with them and get their contact, and then hang out with them a handful of times already. So it's cool, man. I'm looking forward to, the meetup in Vegas. I know that there was the one that was last year, and this year it's going to be like 2 times as big, something like that. So I think like 662 people, something like that. So it's exciting.
Yep, exciting times, and it's just going to get more and more exciting as time goes on. That's the magic carpet ride, right?
It really is, man. Like I was making in a video last night that when Richard says stuff, like he says it with intention, and he's not bullshitting people. You can't bullshit a bullshitter type of deal is what my grandpa would say. And like he's not just saying stuff to be hyperbolic or to get people's attention or have them invest. No, it's like, you see what Bitcoin, and you mentioned, Bitcoin at $50 and stuff. But you see kind of what Bitcoin's done through its journey. And I mean, if Bitcoin can do it, Hex sure can do it as well, right? When you look at those inflation bugs, one of them had to roll the chain back. One of them was caught by a Bcash developer. Some of these other things, the proof of work versus, what we're going to have with Hex now, which is the proof of stake on PulseChain. It's really something not to be, sleeping on. And I think we really are kind of, after we had that first 10,000x gain, obviously there's going to be consolidation and people selling, they've never experienced those kind of gains before. But I think we really are kind of prepping the move for, the next 10,000x and then PulseChain and PulseX too. Yep.
And it's just a mirror. I mean, if you're going to look into Hex Gerardo's charts, right, .com, it's just kind of mirroring what ETH and Bitcoin did, but better. So can we see somewhat similar things happen to what happened with Bitcoin and Ethereum? Sure, why not? But it's already doing it better, and it's going to continue to do it better because it is a better token. It's a better tokenomics. It's got better fundamentals. It's got better everything. So, I mean, yeah, can we see some consolidation? Yeah, that's normal. Dips are in the game, right? Dips are in the game of life. We've got good game theory that reflects that life. We can expect these dips to happen, but that's the beauty of staking. We can just sit through it and earn our yield.
It's so true. I figured while you were talking, I wanted to bring that up just so people can, have that visual. Thank you to Gerardo. Look into hex.com. But you're right. I mean, yeah, you look at, Bitcoin 6.5 or 6.9 actually, because it went to 69,000. And it's actually more than that because you figure that it was actually cheaper than a penny at one time. But that's just going from a penny, which is even more ridiculous to even just fathom. But yeah, you're right. Like Bitcoin's 6.9 million X through this huge time horizon. And then obviously Ethereum you can see is kind of like second best. But then, Hex's trajectory and slope is just, it's on a mission, damn it.
It's phenomenal. I'm excited to see what happens. The next few years are really going to just tell us something. if the last 2 years haven't already, which the last 2 years should have already told the world, hey, look what's up.
No, it's so true. Like you mentioned, yeah, the last 2 years have kind of told the world what's up, like you say. I mean, inflation seems to be at like, damn near all-time high. You've got, if you're holding the dollar or you're holding any of these other things, I mean, they're just not going to go up nearly as much as, things like cryptocurrency and and investments that do well over time and that aren't controlled by, you know, central banks that can just print it out of thin air and do quantitative easing.
Yep. We have something unique and special within this ecosystem and universe that Richard Hart's created. It's to me, it's the next wave. It's the next world currency, as Maddie likes to put it, right?
It is. Well, speaking of which, I mean, not just to, you know, talk all about HEX and stuff, but I know yesterday, or
It's
maybe
hard
it
not
was
to
the day
talk about
before.
HEX.
I know, right? No, it's just all kind of relative, but like the PulseX, right? The OA.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I mean, I don't know
yesterday.
if you watched our show yesterday, but not many people were
No, I
aware
need to catch up.
that the sacrifice, or at least that first portion, that 113 billion,
Yep.
came from the PulseChain sacrifice address to a daughter OA address, and then it got sacked.
Mm-hmm.
Were you aware of that? Did you?
I wasn't. I'm like, tell me more. Damn, that's so say that again. It went from the PulseChain SAC address to an OA daughter address, and then to the PulseX,
and then into the PulseX wallet. And then obviously there were more sacks coming from the OA as well. But that main chunk, that big main chunk, came from the original PulseChain sacrifice address, which I thought was pretty interesting and kind of efficient game theory on Richard's end, or at least the OA's end.
Right.
Because you can't say Richard, but I mean the OA.
Right.
We don't know who or what, right?
Mm-hmm.
So interesting game theory on that end. And I don't know, some of the comments already in our video, there aren't people that are happy with it.
Yeah, I could see that. You know, it's and I do have for reference, I do need to go back and watch your guys' stream, because what a you know, I was listening to Wales' stream while hanging out with some friends, and then I had kind of suspected that, I think from like the stream that I did the day before that Sunday, that just like with PulseChain, right, you had like some sort of volume phase and then a time where it kind of tapered off, and then that's when the OA had sacked. But I mean, I know a lot of people, and I'll come back over here for just a second. I know a lot of people, they thought the same thing for Big Payday, right? So for those that don't know, November 19th, day 351 of HEX, the, you know, initial launch phase, the OA had also, so the staking for the Big Payday used to be like, you'd get a huge bonus based on, you know, the amount of shares and stuff that you had. But it was like hours before that the OA had just staked a shit ton of HEX. Like, it was literally, you can go back to it, it's like 99.9% staked. And you have all these people,
at the rewards,
you know, just
for that day. It's like
very small. Yep. And so, you know, and then you have the same thing with PulseChain, and then now the same thing with PulseX, which I expected, and I think a lot of us did, that have kind of been you know, seen it a couple times. But you know, I think it's just kind of perspective, where once again, for me, when I think of whales in an ecosystem, you know, I want a whale that's going to, you know, have every reason to protect the price, to protect the projects, and, you know, to keep everything going upward and onward, versus, you know, cutting off their nose to spite their face. So the way that I look at it is kind of like that benevolent entity that, you know, if other whales do kind of try and play games, I guess they could kind of try and counterbalance. But it just seems that, you know, you're not ever going to be able to diversify all the power in the world and have a efficient running system, you know. So I'm happy that at least with however the OA is set up, whatever it is, it seems to be working, you know, flawlessly, absolutely flawlessly.
Yep. And Brizology brought up a good point here. He said, I think people are upset with it because they had a false assumption that the HEX that the OA sacked for PulseChain would never move again. But Richard only said he wouldn't sell it, or that the OA wouldn't sell it, not move it. And we've seen, like, its behavior. We can gain a lot of information just by observing behavior, whether that's in another human or another entity or wallet, right? If we look at the behavior of people that have staked in the past, are they going to dump or sell or just restake? We know this based on past behavior. Well, based on the past behavior of the OA, they move HEX around quite a bit.
Yeah.
The OA has never sold any HEX, but it's moved a HEX around quite a bit. And that's all this was a transaction. It's just HEX moving to a different wallet. At the end of the day, that's all it is. Why some people have to feel a certain way about it, I don't know. I think they miss the bigger picture, and they're not able to see you know, the benefits of what the OA is actually doing.
Well, dude, it's just so true. I mean, because coming up next month on the 15th, it'll be, damn near 5 years that I followed Richard. And once again, have always because I had followed other people in crypto, and then that kind of led me to Richard from reading on some Reddit comments. But I've always just seen him having like the same message and kind of the same wants when people ask him like, oh, if you're the so-called retired billionaire and stuff like this, well, then why are you doing this on these streams, and why are you spending 8-hour live streams and stuff? And his message has always been consistent with, trying to, and actually, helping people, building products and allowing them to, Richard talks about it like you can do what the other people do, which is scam them, or you can build a product that they'll happily give you, their money. And then they'll also be able to have like good game theory mechanics on, things like that instead of being a degen.
Yeah, that's right. We're all degens at some point. I'm grateful that I've learned through time and through my own experiences to mitigate that. But then when I found Richard Hart, it was like a launch code went off in my head, and I was able to just progress further with not only the knowledge that I was gaining, but practical experience, life wisdom. It's interesting. You said you've been following him for 5 years. How did you find him? Because he never showed up in my YouTube algorithm.
So he never actually showed up in my YouTube algorithm, but I was following other people, and I was following people like, I don't even know, like maybe I'd heard of BitBoy or Jason at 4, some of these people that I'd kind of heard about crypto in the first place. But where I'd actually found out Richard was reddit.com/r/Litecoin markets, I think, or just Litecoin. And someone was just crap talking Richard because, he was a staunch Bitcoin maximalist at the time. And, you know how Richard gets. I mean,
yep.
People don't realize how
we're hoping to see that tomorrow.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Like, people don't realize how tame Richard is right now versus like him just letting loose way back in the day. And so anyways, you'd have Richard that would just constantly shit talk Ethereum and all these other cryptocurrencies. He would like promote Monero and stuff like that for anonymity and privacy. But just the point is, we've seen a lot kind of change over the years, and it's just awesome to see Richard initially updated his worldview from being like a staunch Bitcoin maxi from 2011. He realized, oh, those Ethereum people cuckolded my gains. I don't want to have that. I want to have the same gains that they had.
Yep. That's super important when we can update our worldview and allow ourselves to change. It's funny how we can allow ourselves to change, but then when we see change in others, we don't allow them to have changed. We still see them as the old them sometimes.
Oh, that's true, man. Let me come back over here to the comments, because AW did have a good mention, and I appreciate you saying that too about the sack for the Pulse address kind of went over, because yesterday I was showing here's what I was showing real quick. Let me bring it up on screen. So here's what I was showing was like, okay, we obviously know that the OA had sacrificed, but you're right. The reason that the Pulse sacrifice is a sliver to AW's comment is because that same, was kind of sent over to the PulseX. So it makes sense why the ratios were kind of looking all wonky, because we know that obviously a lot was sacked for PulseX too, or sorry, for Pulse. But anyways, it's awesome to see. Let me read his comment. So he says, that's why the Pulse sack doesn't show on the wheel in your vid yesterday, Balliet. It's the original sacrifice that had been re-sacrificed to PulseX. You were wondering yesterday. Great to see both of you on good form. So
thank you, AW. That was a helpful comment. I was gonna say, did you see K4K's Twitter comment yesterday? I think it was last night, where he broke down the percentages of each sacrifice and how it would affect the total supply of each coin?
I didn't, but as you kind of explain it, let me pull it up. Feel free to tell me.
I'd have to pull it from memory, so I'm pulling this from memory.
I'll pull it up as you kind of explain it. Okay.
So he was going in depth about the total supply and how PulseX will actually have less total supply than PulseChain. And he gives you the math on why that is. Because with how much has been sacrificed for PulseX, most people are probably in the same camp that I was, thinking that PulseX is going to have a much greater supply than PulseChain.
Right. Okay, let me actually pull that up because I did watch a little bit of his and Crypto Stylist stream, and yeah, he had mentioned a little bit of that. I didn't catch all of it, so I need to go back and take a look. But that's interesting, man, about the total of PulseX versus PulseChain, because you're right. K4K even mentioned with the liquidity in PulseChain that they're just going to have more liquidity for PulseChain. So if you have something like PulseX, which he was kind of thinking, like, that guy's a math wizard. Let me just say that,
Yeah, obviously,
he's
just reading this was
yeah.
beyond me.
I know, dude. I'm like, okay, 1 + 1 = 2.
Right?
You know, just, what does this mean? No, someone, I forget who it was. There's just so many streams that I watch nowadays, but someone had mentioned that he's like he looks like Jimmy Neutron. You know, like, did you ever see that show?
Yeah. That's perfect.
I love it, dude, because in that I used to watch that show, you know, and you know, he's kind of like the super smart genius guy. So what an interesting discovery. And once again, just goes to show you how amazing this community is, where most people they would try and sell that information you know, to other people, or they would try and, you know, gatekeep it from people because of fear for like competition and things. And I love that people like, you know, Richard has obviously led by example with this, with the Fix the World book, the sci-fi and stuff. But it's just cool to see us educating our own and educating obviously everyone else too. Because once again, you're only as strong as your weakest link. You know, if you have a pyramid and, you know, some of the legs at the bottom are super weak, well, then, you know, you might have like a Leaning Tower of Pisa type of deal.
Yep. And this is the type of information that most of us aren't aware of. So when we see the sacrifice, like we did with PulseX, from the OA address go in and out of PulseChain, then to PulseX, and we don't consider what it's actually doing to the system state that we're going to be entering. If you just have a knee-jerk reaction without delving into it deeper and seeing why, what are the benefits of this, then, I mean, we can end up fighting ourselves out of a great opportunity. And so I'm grateful for guys like K4K doing this, because, I mean, that tells me I'm more bullish on PulseChain.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, it's so true, man. I mean, I think of, and yeah, you're right. You know, sometimes people might have a fallacy of like, oh, just because Hex was the first one and now Richard's creating a second and a third one, does that mean that Hex is bad, or does that mean that Hex isn't going to go up and stuff? And, you know, that's kind of just like a, you know, like a parade of imaginary horribles, or just something that's probably
that's
not as logical.
what it is. Yep.
Yeah. And you see that a lot. But anyways, I look at when Richard had, because here's the thing, so many people that got into Hex early, they had also sold it early too. And they didn't stake and things like that. And then you had those people, or just people that never heard about Hex, that said, man, you know, if only Richard had developed like another crypto, or, you know, another opportunity so I could get in at the ground floor. And then you have literally 2 other opportunities with PulseChain first. And then, you know, Richard's like, oh, okay, if I'm gonna make a blockchain, I need to do an AMM as well. So let's just fork, you know, Uniswap to a similar pancake swap. So 3 opportunities for different moments in history where people get to participate in literally life-changing gains. And you're right about the, you know, people can FUD themselves out easily. And it's so true. That's why you always have to, you know, verify, never trust, and then also make sure that you're getting the actual true data. And it's not someone that just has an agenda that is trying to maybe scoop up cheaper bags or try and get you to sell.
Yep. It's always those emotional decisions and feelings we have that usually tend to wreck us.
Well, it's so true. I mean, Latin American crypto, he, you know, he corroborates what you're saying too. The upset people are the ones that are happy with the majority of users being ignorant of the game theory that Richard has created. You know, the more people that have accurate knowledge, the better it is. And that's exactly what we're doing, what other people are doing that, you know, have even, you know, it goes to show you, like, people that have retired and are still here and they're trying to help people. It's like, you know, if this was a rug pull or a scam, like, the people that made their money, that would have been out, or they would have never showed their face, but they continue and they have. So it's just something that's totally different.
Completely different. And as soon as I started learning, I don't know if this was your experience too, but because you were with Richard for 5 years already.
Sure.
But as soon as I started learning, the more I learned, the more I was kind of satiated with the answers. The answers didn't cause more questions or concerns. The answers made sense to me. 1 + 1 = 2. And as I learned more and got more knowledge from the actual game theory and what was going on with it, not only the HEX ecosystem, but now PulseChain and PulseX, the more you learn, the more you should be excited about it, because every little tidbit that I'm learning, oh man, it just makes me even more bullish.
It's so true. Well, yeah, like in K4K's in the chat here too. So, shout out to him.
Hey, good to see you, man.
Crypto Stylist. But no, you're right, dude. We're like, some people they might have like, they've never waited this long for something to be developed or something to release and stuff. And then, yeah, when you hear that, just some of this information that K4K is talking about, like PulseChain doesn't really have a buyback and burn. Sure, it has like completely deflationary, which PulseX has as well, and burning the fees. But then once again, that buyback and burn and some of these other things that you mentioned with him kind of having that breakthrough of, PulseChain is going to have a higher supply. And then also, let me share the screen on that same tweet because it's relevant. He mentions what's interesting about the AMM bot is it mints Pulse to put into the pools with PRC20, which is available to purchase by users. So let's say it only mints 1% of the total supply of the Pulse supply. That's 1.275 trillion Pulse chain sitting in pools at launch. That's 10% of the user available supply. So I remember him talking about that too. And once again, just questions that like people like myself, honestly, didn't really have answers to. And it's awesome to see him kind of leading by example.
Yep. So we're going to see a same type of liquidity environment that we see in HEX, right? The nice pumpamental is just being kind of inserted itself into there through a different means, of course, but similar type way. So that liquidity is just going to be perfect enough, but also perfect enough to pump.
Yeah. No, yeah. I heard, a lot of us had heard, and even still today, like you mentioned, it's easy for people to kind of like FUD themselves out that they don't actually do the due diligence. But, we heard all the excuses in the beginning of, first off, Richard's a scammer, all these different things. It's never going to do a 10,000x. You say it's going to do a 10,000, because Richard was saying like on the website, and it's true, right? It's the way that it was designed to do 10,000x in 2.5 years. And so you got all these people that gave him flack and that crap talked him for that. But then when it succeeded and it did it in 1.5 years, haters are silent. Or to the opposite, they double down and they, it's like, man, you guys are really revealing yourselves that, you shouldn't have been trusted in the first place. And you got people like Richard kind of shining a light on some of those bats.
Yeah, that new narrative that I see coming out now is, okay, you got your 10,000x, but guess what? It was only designed to do that. Now it's just going to go down and you're going to get rugged.
Yeah. Dude.
Like it hit the 10,000. Now Richard's pulling out.
No, it's true. It's like,
oh man,
it's like, yeah, people. It's been two years and no rug. So when's the rug going to happen? What, 10 years into the road, 5 years into the road. So it's kind of just that never ending goalpost that, they keep moving the goalpost.
It was the same narrative with Bitcoin, same narrative with Ethereum. I don't think we'll ever fully get rid of that until we can onboard the rest of the world, right?
Well, speaking of which, and I appreciate you bringing that up because to be honest, I kind of forgot about it. There's just so much going on these days. And anyways, D. Addison says, I'm going to rug you all. That's hilarious.
Rug me harder.
So, no, but as far as, what is it? Peter Schiff, you mentioned people that have been, using those same narratives on Bitcoin for the longest time. Dude, Peter could have and I said this in a video the other day that, guaranteed he's got a bag of Bitcoin. He's just kind of playing his role of being the shit talker that kind of never converts. But you've got Richard and Peter Schiff debating tomorrow. You saw that, right? That
I'm signed up under my faux email account.
Yep. No, that's always cool. Yeah, shout out to Richard for kind of, once again, I think a lot of us kind of know that maybe have like a spam email or, something like that. But once again, you can never be too redundant, and especially when you're trying to look out for people. I appreciated him doing that in the subtweet.
Yep. That is 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for anybody watching that doesn't know about it. And maybe Bran, you could put a link in your description for that.
Yes. Yep. I will. I'll pull that up here on Twitter and we'll get it. But no, I'm excited for that, man. It's so cool because, there's like the saying or the moniker that Richard uses of like, bring your heroes here to die.
Yeah, I love it.
And yeah, and like, the thing that I think people dislike Richard so much is because, normally you'd be like a cocky, let's just say like a cocky son of a bitch to say something like that in the first place. But Richard's one of those people that can talk the talk and walk the walk too. So
when you're
most
right,
of the
you're
time,
right.
yeah, you hear those scammers that are like kind of sounding similar and stuff. But no, Richard's got a proven track record, and he calls himself like a serial winner, and I love that team win.
Yep. Hey, we got Heavy Metal Hexagon in the chat. Do you know who they are? So that's the band
Yeah.
Kissing Candace. So that's probably either Grippo or Dom chatting to us right now. Welcome, guys. Thanks for hopping in.
No,
You've been on their show.
So
You've been on their show, right? Or were you not?
No, I was just in the chat. I was going to join that one night that you joined too, but I've been having a really and the first StreamYard experience I had was on this phone with RG3 and Discord Syndicate. And for whatever reason, man, I don't know why, but just the mobile version for StreamYard kind of joining doesn't really work for me, or maybe it's the headphones. Maybe I just need to have like wired headphones type of deal. But anyways, I haven't been on yet, but yeah, shout out to Heavy Metal Hexagon. Those guys, they're kind of like a Batman and Robin too, right? They're absolutely hilarious, and I think they complement each other. They're like best friends, or one of them's the manager, I think. But
they're definitely heavy metal. If you're offended by heavy metal, don't go to that show.
Dude, I'd totally go to that, man. Shit, I hear Slipknot's gonna be in Seattle. I'd be down.
Yeah, hit me up with some tickets. Fly me out. Fly me out. Kissing Candace, fly me out. Flew me out.
No, he says, and yeah, thanks for being here, everyone. I mean, we got 65 people, which is, more than normal and stuff. So it's nice that everyone's enjoying it. He says, lots of exciting stuff happening right now. It's getting wild before, the calm before the storm. Totally. Richard pretty much gave a smackdown to the NASCAR stuff. Yeah, he really did, dude. And once again, I appreciate that, right? He, cause I've got 3 older brothers. I mean, and anyways, sometimes you kind of have like, yeah, the truth hurts, or tough love and stuff like that. And I went back last night and I was reading Richard's book, the Fix the World. And lo and behold, it's like literally on page 3 of the marketing about, direct to consumer and direct marketing and stuff like that is, just more effective per se, because it's a good point, man. Like Richard said, you've got, and I'm not shit talking it, more than he was, but, when you have, you want rarity. So that's what that is with like the direct mail, right? Like, oh, this is something for me, and oh, this is just addressed to me. But when you have something like that as an example, or a commercial, well, you've got 100 other commercials, or you've got 100 other race cars. So it's going to kind of blend in with the weeds, even if it does stand out and pop. So I appreciated him saying that, because I think that, yeah, it's just good to know, because I put in some money into that. And I think about it, if I had put in that same amount of money into like a direct mail campaign or something like that, it might be something that I want to do in the future. So
yep,
it's a good idea,
Definitely. And it's not that it didn't have any benefit to it, right?
Totally.
There were good things that still came from it. And look at the 650,000 raised in less than a week. That's huge for a community to crowdfund that much money in that little time. That really says something about us as Hexicans and our community and what we can actually accomplish. So, there's a lot of good selling points that we can still use to directly onboard and talk about while we directly onboard. And of course, they did the direct onboarding with the free merch and the guns and talking to people while they were there at the event too, right? So not to naysay or anything, but there's more efficient ways. That's it. There's just more efficient ways. Let's hone in.
Totally. Well, yeah, and like you mentioned, because Richard had mentioned, and I think it's just kind of like that saying, like, facts don't lie, facts don't care about your feelings, data doesn't care about your feelings. I love, and I'd like to be better about this. I'd like to like pay someone to deck out BallietBran.com, because I don't know anything about web design. I just got it so someone else wouldn't steal the domain. But yeah, just the point is that anyways, it's cool to know that from someone like Richard, who is the spam king and a marketing master and stuff like this, he had said even that the way that that an advertisement worked not only is from the data, right, from the the stuff that the analytics you can see on the website, but that people will complain about it, right? You saw that with the like the 10,000 wallets or whatever for Ledger that got leaked. whoever did that direct mail, which I'd love to get in contact with them and do a 2.0. They got a lot of complaints of people that were like, who's direct mailing this into my address, because there's no like return to sender and stuff. And I just think it's cool that stuff like that kind of brings more attention. It's not, you see the scammers do that kind of stuff anyway. So you might as well be able to put a better product in front of them that can actually grow their money, grow their value versus, take all their life savings away. Like some of these other things that might do the same.
Yep, exactly. And that's all it is. I mean, we're moving forward. If anyone's stuck on that, I don't think anyone is actually. Everyone got the message at this point.
Totally. No, but that's what I was going to say. Just that quick point was that, Richard mentioned, okay, the taxis were cool. The London bus ads were cool. And so was the HEX NASCAR. But he had mentioned like, okay, we already got it once, the photos that we can do. And now, like you say, we can kind of do other stuff too. So I think it's kind of maybe important that we had that experience because now we realize, oh, okay, we can still market in our own ways.
Yep, definitely. What did I wanted to go back up and read that from Heavy Metal. If they're offended by our show, they wouldn't watch you, Luthor. That's probably true because I could be pretty offensive sometimes.
That's funny, man. Let me come back over here to some of the comments because I did want to address some of this, and then we can kind of wrap up. Let's see here. The upset people are the ones that are. Oh, we already went over this. 1 second here. Same thing happened with Big Payday. Yep, that's exactly right. Just history repeating itself. And once again, for people that are like, oh, some of you guys just got lucky in HEX and stuff. Well, part of the reason why some of it worked so well was because of the way that it's designed. That De Beers. What I was going to say about the Fix the World is it's the De Beers diamond analogy that Richard uses which I'm
glad you brought up again because I forgot about that one.
Yep. It's a great analogy, dude, because I know Big Payday, Richard had streamed like, maybe like hours after the OA had staked and after the Big Payday. And just so many people were fudding, were mad, we're going to sell all of it and stuff like this. And you realize like, 6 months later, it went up like 166 times from that time when people were complaining all the most. Like you really have to turn off kind of your emotions in crypto, especially if you have liquid and you can actually like sell it and stuff. You got to turn off your emotions or at least kind of realize that they're almost there to kind of screw you over,
Yep. 100%, because that's what it is. The emotions have nothing to do inside of a computer code, and that's what we're interacting with, right? The emotions don't care about the digital code that you're either staking or keeping liquid with or transacting with.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Michael Mulder has a question for us both. So he says, you think the guys selling now have no clue we get a copy soon? I just don't understand the selling. Great stream, guys.
You want to answer that first?
So yeah, why not? I would say yes and no. I mean, once again, the sacrifice phase itself, is pretty much over for the most part, right? There's like the last couple of days, I think, until I
think we got a day and a half, less than a day now, or it's the 25th.
Yeah, so I think it was the 25th. Yeah, that it officially ends. Who knows? Obviously, what time it is? Probably like 00 UTC. But anyways, I would say probably a portion of them do, and honestly, probably a portion of them, they could care less because like Richard hasn't said anything about like a snapshot, or they might have just been like maybe they wanted to. Maybe they heard about HEX, they heard about the copy when say it was like 30 cents, 25 cents, 50 cents. And they're like, oh, great, I'm going to get 2 for 1. And then all these months later, it's still obviously not launched. Maybe it kind of has weeded some of those people out because I know when even like the Pulse chain sacrifice ended, it was still like 7 cents, so clearly there was some price pumpage from, people just speculating. And so maybe some of those were weeded out. I'm not too sure. What do you think?
I don't really care to think about the motivations of sellers and why they're dumping. Honestly, Michael, right. I don't really care to think about it. We could speculate and spend time on wondering what they're doing and what they're thinking. But at the end of the day, it's already happened. It's already taken place. and we
That's
can only
true.
just go forward now from here and where we're at. I'm grateful for the opportunity to buy in lower. For myself, that's 100% true, because I'm still DCA and I'm still wanting to increase my bag size. So for me, it's kind of a beneficial opportunity. Would it have been better if we could have just run up another 10,000x without taking another dip? Yes, of course. But
Yeah.
this is life, right? Dips are in the game.
Yeah.
So instead of worrying about those dips, I tend to just find the opportunity in them.
That's great information, man. Yeah, because as Richard says, like volatility is the feature, it's not the bug, right? If you had a stable coin that's not volatile at all, well, good luck with not having any gains. It's just it's just stagnant. So I think that is kind of a very good point that you mentioned. Kind of just focusing your attention on yeah, like because the only reason that should matter is if like you're going to be selling too, and then you're kind of trying to derive why they might be. But if you're not, then yeah, kind of just, I agree, maybe not focus on that. I'll get to Nardo's super chat in a second. Wanted to say thanks to him, but have you if you haven't, you should check him out. But the Crypto Wonder podcast, that guy had a video for maybe like 30 or 40 minutes. That was a pretty legit video. And he's a Hexican too, and talks a lot about
I've not
Hex
heard of
pulse
him
and
yet. I'm going to check him out. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah,
is it a podcast or it's on YouTube?
It's on YouTube. Yeah, it's on YouTube. And yeah, I just seen a couple of his videos, because the thing is that there's so many Hexicans, PulseChaims, coming on board daily that
we are legion.
Honestly, yeah, I know, right? That I miss most of them, but it's the Hex streamer bot that notifies me, oh, this person's a streamer now, or making videos. And I love that, man, because once again, that's what happened with K4K, even though he had been around since, the get-go in the beginning, but he had realized, okay, like you say, get in where you kind of fit in. And if you people like Wales or Gerardo or K4K, the math guys, if you kind of see some stuff that's lacking and that you can kind of bring clarity to and shine light on, then yeah, it would behoove you to help everyone else understand it. So that way we're all on the same page.
Exactly. Anybody doing anything to help progress this and move it along, even if you think it's very little, can actually turn out to be pretty tremendous. There's opportunities that I'm seeing in my own life and people coming to me. And I know Richard says that anybody that enters your DMs is a scammer. It's not necessarily true. You should be able to vet them before, because if you're just going to discount all your DMs, well, you might miss out on some newsworthy opportunities.
Yeah, it's so true, man.
Just learn how to vet your DMs.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And you're right. Definitely in the Telegram settings, I think Crypto Coffee had a pretty good, just like, a couple screenshots, but yeah, turn off the setting where, I mean, not only other people can just randomly call you and stuff, like set it to where it's maybe like friends only or contacts only, but then same thing, there's also a setting that other people can just automatically add you to other Telegram groups.
Yeah, make sure you protect yourself in those ways.
Yeah, turn that off. Because I've literally seen people that were like, I got like, because obviously this is a bot that does this, but I got invited to like 9,000 different Telegram groups, and I have to manually delete each one. And it's like, oof, So yeah, security is super important, man. And especially nowadays when, with crypto, obviously it's the mad gains, right? That person that had the 6.9 million X, that's awesome. But you also are your own bank, right? You also don't want to, leave your crypto on the exchanges and have a Mount Gox or have a Cryptopia, or, you need to be responsible for it. So security really is of the utmost importance.
Yeah. Heavy metal Hexican level. No drinking on my episodes. Yeah, it's a sober show.
I love it, dude. Yeah, that was a good show. Yeah, Nardo 3333, cheers, champ. Yeah, Nardo's a great guy too. And once again, it's cool, man, because I was always, and still have been and always will be, but close with my brothers and stuff, and they were kind of my primary friends growing up. Just some of the people in my grade I could just never really, was kind of more along the maturity with the older brothers and stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, with the Hex community, I'd never really been a part of a community before then. Sure, you have like football and some of these other things, but it's just cool how many, like people I've hung out with in real life, or people that I can call friends, And that's the cool thing too. Like, not only for someone like yourself, do you mention about, you didn't really expect the opportunity, but you kind of took the opportunity for, streaming and stuff. And now it kind of opens doors that you maybe never would have thought of, or that you didn't know it would lead to that.
Yep, 100%. And there's things like, even just with my desire to onboard, it's starting to get easier. It's starting to get to the point where we can onboard more people. We're getting to kind of maybe some wealthier individuals that have actual power to move the price if they are sold on the token and the vision for HEX and what it means for the world, what it can mean for the world. So I never would have imagined that I would be in front of a room full of people talking and selling them HEX to when they have a decision to move large amounts of capital. And that's now facing my plate. I'm at that plate now, and I'm going, oh wow.
It's true, man. It's true. And yeah, once again, some people, I know at the beginning in crypto, or at least relatively, people might think like, oh, I just had $100 worth of crypto and I just had it in this wallet, and then, it goes up like 10,000x because maybe they're just focused on other stuff in life. And then it's like, wait, didn't you have like that, $1,000 worth of crypto that's now a whole bunch? So you're right about either onboarding people that are kind of really big players, or just in general, people that might be, what you might consider like a tadpole or a minnow, but then also can kind of work their way up to that kind of bigger class and that next step, just because of the asset that they invested in and did well with.
And you never know who's connected to who. So even though that tadpole or minnow or that shrimp or crab, they may have some large connections that they see you doing your onboarding efforts, and they come to you and say, hey, I got this person, I know them. Why don't I get you in touch with them and you try to work something out? That has happened to me as well. I mean, that's how I got Alondra on one of our shows a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where she had 320,000, followers on TikTok, and we brought her on board. Saw that big green candle. I'm taking credit for that, by the way. That big green candle on that day. We streamed at the same time.
No, that was cool, man. I really liked it because, yeah, once again, not only is it, more women in the crypto space, which naturally, like tech or, stuff like that, doesn't have as much as a dominance. But then also, like you mentioned, the cross promotion. I know Funding Jim initially, when him and I first started streaming a long time ago, or he would come on my streams every now and then, that's what he would always say, was that, it was kind of, at least for me, kind of broadcasting to the Hexicans and kind of just this specific, community and stuff like that. But I mean, that community is already onboarded. So if you have other things that you're good at, or other people that maybe you can bring on and kind of do a cross promotion with, you mentioned the lady having 320,000 followers. Like, yeah, that's a big deal. And we're just getting more and more of those. I mean, with Peter Schiff tomorrow, and, just more and more people are kind of realizing.
Yeah. And if you already look at what Richard Hart's done, he's set the way. What he's done. He's had those interviews with people that weren't in the community. They had a large following, or a large enough following to at least accept him and accept the interview to come on board and talk about it. And that's kind of how we have to approach it as far as streaming goes. And maybe even, in your personal lives, you don't have to do it on stream, but if you know somebody that can pull some weight, start talking to them, get to know them, show them HEX.
It's true. I mean, yeah, look at people like Funding Jim that, I mean, yeah, talk about social connection, dude. I mean, seeing him with Gammon and Kiyosaki and all these other different people that once again, dude, when, kind of like attracts like, and Richard's mentioned that, I think it was him that has mentioned this, that like success leaves clues as well. And so you look at some of these super successful people, Kiyosaki, Gammon, or whoever else, Funding Jim, they tend to kind of run, like you mentioned, in those same circles and tend to kind of know each other and stuff. So, maybe they didn't all invest in, just as an example, like in HEX, when say some random person told them about it on, say, one of their YouTube channels. But if they hear someone like Funding Jim or someone else that's like a part of their circle that's credible and stuff, and then, yeah, now they're going to give it like a second shot and a second listen because it's more credible. And when, like you mentioned, when you can kind of get some of those big players on, or some of these, big money that realizes how bad inflation is, devaluing things and, reducing the spending power, they want a safe haven and a hedge to kind of go into.
Yep, exactly. Jerry, we need to get the girls to onboard their sugar daddy. Hey, Jerry, No girls for you. I'm onboarding all the women because when they wake up Hex rich one day, they're going to go in their minds, oh, Hex Luthor did that for me.
Hell yeah, dude.
Not you. They're mine. Leave them for me.
Yeah, you're going to have lots of choices. Onboarding chicks live is the new thing I'm telling you. It's so true, dude. I love it, man. I love it because once again, the first stream I had kind of seen with that was, you know, you and your girl, and then Jim Rat and his on February 14th. So once again, it's taking something that, you know, if you watch my streams, I mean, I haven't been doing that. I don't do that. And so once again, it takes kind of like a different piece of the pie that we're all kind of collectively doing together, but that maybe attracts a different crowd versus someone that watches this stream. And so you can kind of just onboard more people the more broad you kind of spread into something, but also share that, you know, bigger thing in common. So I love it.
Literally.
Well, cool, man. I mean, what was that?
Oh, I'm just reading Heavy Metal Hexican's comment.
You're a genius. Yeah, we'll see if there's any last minute comments. I mean, I know we're kind of over, you know, like an hour and 15, hour and 16 minutes. Did you have, and obviously, you know, did you have anything extra that maybe we haven't covered or that you kind of wanted to say? Maybe.
No, I think we've covered it all. Thank you for having me on the show. If you guys aren't familiar with what we're doing on Pulsification, check us out on YouTube, official Pulsification. Yeah, we're just trying to spread the word and make this go absolutely viral. Face melting gains are what we want to see. So we're here for that. So
true. Let me share you guys' channel here before we do the outro and let everyone go. 1 second. Let me put that on. So that's on, should be hitting YouTube and all the other platforms I'm streaming to. So yeah, official Pulsification. And then I'll get your Twitter up here as well in just a second, just so everyone can go and follow you over there if they haven't already, which they should be. But once again, if they haven't, definitely go follow. Let me put in the Twitter. And once again, I did verify it is in the description. So that's awesome. His Twitter and his YouTube channel. And once again, man, appreciate you coming on. Once again, taking initiative to, you know, it's not easy to stream and not easy to do certain things like this, right? Because you've got a life too.
It is not easy to stream.
Yeah,
there's a learning
you've got
curve.
a life, you've got a girlfriend, and I appreciate you kind of taking time and you know helping the Hexicans and new people as well, because that's a selfless thing that you're doing.
Yeah, I'm in it. I'm in it for the long haul. I see the vision. I'm on board. I'm all in, as they say. So I'm here to help. Reach out to me. Yeah. Follow me. Follow the channel. Hit me up on the DMs if you need something from me or you think you can aid us in any way.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. I'll bring you down for just a second. I'll do the outro and then let everyone get on their way. So thanks again for coming on.
Thank you, Bran. Thank you, chat.
All right. What's up, everyone? So just wanted to say, one last thank you for everyone that stayed through this stream and that's tuned in. I know that there was a lot of people that were really looking forward to this, myself included. So yeah, definitely go check out. Let me put it back up here on the screen. So, official Pulsification is the YouTube channel. Hex Luthor is the, Luthor_Hex is the Twitter @ But once again, the community is amazing, full of awesome people. And it's really kind of what we're doing now that is a grassroots movement. And RG3 has said this before, but it's true. It's not hyperbolic, but that, they are going to be writing this in the history books and things like that. And, we already see a documentary about Richard and Hex and things like this. And it's only getting bigger from here. And it's literally, that 6.9 million X is like the top of the S curve. And we're literally all the way down here. We have so much more to get all the way up to where that was with Bitcoin and then surpass it and kind of take over that dominance. So anyways, see everyone later. We'll do the Nagabo outro. And thanks everyone that tuned in.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to comment. Say hey. Say hey, hey. Hey, hey. Say hey. Say hey. motherfucking jackpot. We still jackpot, bitch!
Thank you, Richard, for creating and founding the most amazing and disruptive financial technology cryptocurrency ever. Thank you, sir. And nice streams, Mr. BallietBran.